I mean, it's preposterous stuff. It is just wide open, Wild West nonsense.
This is something that has gone off the rails. The transparency in these programs are slim to none.
These Houston lawmakers are up in arms, and they should be. You know, this is a real estate racket. In the name of supposedly creating more affordable housing, the Houston Housing Authority has already taken off $76 million from our tax rolls.
The housing authorities are just proving them like popcorn.
The HHA has been trading small discounts in some rents for a lifetime of property tax exemption for the owners of dozens of apartment projects. A windfall for them.
And we need to put a stop to it.
But a widening future financial disaster for the rest of us. Over the course of this giveaway so far, $5.5 billion worth of tax money has just gone poof. Without a vote by any public official. Not one. Not the city, not the county, not the school district. That can't be right. Half of the money we've given away could have helped our school kids, and the Housing Authority Board doesn't seem to care. You know what you're doing. You're stealing from our children. And I, for one, think you're all thieves. You're stealing from our children.
And if the city needs more money, why are they cutting off their leg?
All of this has been done in unparalleled secrecy. Key details of the real estate deals kept hidden in public meetings.
Does the Housing Authority have any information to share about this? Okay, thank you very much.
We're here for your public comments. We don't respond.
This is a joke.
We've even handed out lifetime tax breaks to Delaware corporations. We don't know the names of the people involved in this multi-million-dollar bonanza. Taxes are 1/3 of the expenses of running an apartment complex.
And I call it pure crony capitalism, is what it is. And that's not what we should be doing.
This whole thing stinks of political influence. It always has. But now we have new documents to show you that will tell you how much it smells. We looked at the first 74 closing statements on these real estate deals. Turns out 45 of them involved the very same real estate consultants, Lance Gilliam, who used to run the Housing Authority, and his partner, Leisha Green Ellis, the wife of the powerful county commissioner, Rodney Ellis. Their firm Waterman Steel has pocketed at least $6 million so far, at least on paper. Just one company getting a piece of more than 60% of every PFC real estate deal that's been finalized. A company with a pipeline to the mayor.
The optics don't look very good at all.
The Houston Housing Authority was moving full steam ahead this year. They want to approve deals with developers costing $51 million more in tax money. Luckily, folks across town are finally rising up. Not just over the money being spent, but the abject failure of the HHA to give a darn about bothering to notify neighborhoods what they're doing.
We deserve better. We deserve transparency. We deserve to know what's happening in our neighborhoods.
In Fleetwood, dozens of normally quiet residents staged a rally with protest signs over 2 planned developments in a part of town that flooded badly during Harvey. This sign may have said it all. We pay taxes. Why don't they?
I love our city and hate to see it being stressed financially by these projects that don't have to pay their fair share of property taxes.
The folks in Tanglewood have packed HHA meetings in recent weeks to cry foul over 3 new projects in their neighborhood, including the Deerwood apartment complex on Woodway. Again, no courtesy of notification.
And Wayne Goldstein is exactly right. You're railroading all this through, not giving any residents. Did you notify any of the residents about any of the things you're talking about right now?
I'm calling to put a hold on it for now.
We were surprised when Mayor Turner in January called for a pause in these controversial real estate projects.
We are happy to have such a full house today.
But at the very next meeting, the Housing Authority approved 8 more of these tax giveaways without a single second of discussion.
I don't know what to make of that. It defies logic.
We've uncovered damning texts, including evidence that Leisha Green Ellis has the power to direct HHA officials to wait until she speaks with the mayor, and that was 3 years ago.
If the mayor wanted to stop it, he could stop it like that.
The mayor knows what's going on here. This is a game, folks. The mayor had no intention of stopping it.
We get lip service that they're going to pause it, And in reality, they're putting it on overdrive to put more in.
More in because the mayor and his pawns at the HHA know there are 2 bills in Austin to gut this sketchy affordable housing program, or at least add a lot of accountability. The Houston Chronicle has finally woken up, 2 full years after FBI agents first started asking questions about these deals. Asking questions has been dangerous for HHA board members. When 3 privately complained about the $63 million HHA was spending on Edo land with environmental contamination, they were suddenly gone.
The FBI is knocking on my door. They're knocking on the wrong doors. They got the key players. Why aren't they at their doors?
Maybe that explains that all these folks do now is just sit there and say nothing.
Is there any discussion?
At the last meeting, 16 resolutions passed without a word of discussion.
Resolutions number 3621 through 3638, all inclusive. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
I'm not aware of any hiding of anything on the deals that we're working on. I'm not aware of any hiding.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, it's true. Our first chat with HHA Chairman Lawrence Snowden, who was just reelected, was 3 years ago. That's how long we've been trying to warn you about this shady, out-of-control tax giveaway.
How can you possibly justify that? How can you possibly justify that?
Snowden changed his mind about hiding in the bathroom that day, but he hasn't just been avoiding us.
And at this point, I'm tired. So I was going to go to their house.
The head of the City Council Housing Committee didn't have to go find Snowden because he finally took the hint and agreed to testify, sharing details about the program he'd never shared before.
The need for affordable housing is dire within the city.
Snowden testified they had already created 12,597 affordable apartment units all across town since late 2018 by providing 75 to 99-year-long tax exemptions, far greater than necessary. Calls Senator Betancourt a skeptic.
I have seen nothing in writing that would ever say that they were created 12,000 actual affording housing units. I'd love to see that data.
How many of these apartments are actually available now? How many have been filled? Developers aren't forced to advertise this affordable housing program, and they should be. Listen closely to Snowden's testimony because he's about to say something that sure sounded flat out false to us.
With our 60% AMI units, we're on average across the board of the developments we have, we're averaging at about 39% of those units.
Look at the fancy graphs by income levels Snowden brought along. Almost 5,000 apartments for the truly needy had been created, he said. Folks making 60% of AMI, that's about $37,000 a year.
We appreciate you taking the time and coming to educate us and appreciate your work.
Here's the problem, Councilman Martin, and it's a huge one. One that should force council to demand Snowden come back to City Hall so you can actually ask him a real question. HHA's own records totally contradict what he said. We've examined every single vote by the Housing Authority. Every one. Virtually none of the final votes promised any apartments for the needy. Certainly not anything even remotely close to what Snowden was claiming. Since that testimony, we've asked HHA multiple times to explain the huge discrepancy, why we shouldn't conclude the chairman lied. They read our emails, but ignored us. This has become Houston's con game. Affordable housing. Who could say no to that? We've accused the Houston Housing Authority for years of playing a deceitful shell game on Houston taxpayers. A bait and switch. It's true that many of these real estate deals began with votes that promised help for the needy, but then the deals change. Same property, usually the same people, but different corporate names. And in the final resolutions, all these apartments promised to the poorest Houstonians disappeared. The poor kicked to the curb by the very people who are supposed to be helping them. Let us show you just one of dozens of examples.
This doesn't serve the state's affordable housing needs and creates revenue shortfalls due to the lack of property tax revenue.
Since the Deerwood apartment on Woodway has been in the news, we'll use them as an example. September of last year, the first public notice of the $33 million planned renovation of Deerwood, a project that will take nearly $1 million off our tax rolls.
I believe that HHA has sneakily taken action without adequate oversight, transparency, and community input on the Deerwood project.
In exchange for the huge tax break, Pennington Chen were going to provide half the apartments for affordable housing. 40 of those units, 21%, even 3-bedroom units for folks making just 60% of AMI. As part of the required procurement, the project was scored on everything from the quality of schools to the depth of affordability being offered, even the quality of the developer's financial means. They got a 3 out of 10. Now take a look at the agenda just 2 short months later. HHA votes to hand off finalizing the deal to staff with a corporation that had just been formed 5 days earlier. The public will not be allowed to see the final terms. But look, now it says the developers are only borrowing $24 million. Check this out. Suddenly, there's no more mention of providing a single apartment for the truly needy. It's not part of the deal anymore. Yet HHA doesn't go back and rescore the project, even the depth of affordability, which had clearly changed. The developers will make more money if they don't have to cut rents much, but they're still getting the very same tax break for decades.
It just isn't fair when hardworking residents will have to take up the slack by paying more taxes. The money has to come from somewhere.
The Houston Housing Authority should get their house in order.
HHA did what they always do. Ignore the neighborhood's opposition and the district councilwoman's. Here's the closing statement on the real estate deal. And guess what? There's Waterman Steel again. Paid another $80 grand for consulting. If Snowden misled city council or flat out lied, he should be fired now. But this gravy train of questionable housing deals, they're now exploding statewide, and why wouldn't it?
It's going to be the legislature that has to fix this, and I'm more than willing to help.
I was working on this issue before even considering running for office. This is something that's been near and dear to me for a while.
And it is up to us to be able to change it when we see that there's waste, fraud, and abuse.
And we plan to be your watchdogs in Austin while this fight unfolds.